Today we are with an honorable guest, a great supporter for entrepreneurship, and a candidate for the Senate in the next year. Sharifah, could you please introduce yourself and what do you do for business?
Yes, I am Sharifah Hardie. I'm an author, business consultant, and talk show host. I'm the host of the Roundtable Talk Show, which airs weekdays at 8 a.m. Pacific Time, Monday through Friday. And I'm also a candidate for the Senate in California in 2024.
That's more than awesome. So my first question here is why did you decide to run for the Senate 2024?
I decided to run for Senate because I felt it was the next logical step after my run for Long Beach City Council, because I want to be in the political arena in order to have a voice. I believe that we need change in America, change in the nation, change around the world, and I wanted to be a part of that change.
And what can you bring to the table? What kind of a change would you like to see happen?
More entrepreneurship, creating jobs, creating companies. Small businesses are the lifeline of America, and I would love to be able to create more opportunities. After being laid off 8 times, my focus was on how to create jobs with a living wage.
So my question here, could you explain a little more about your role with entrepreneurship?
Yes. So I built my first website in 1994. I knew even back then that the internet was the only way to be able to work from home, be a stay-at-home mother, and also have some sort of income. And so over the years, after layoff, after layoff, after layoff, I realized I didn't want to have all of my eggs in one basket. I wanted to diversify. And so I started with the .coms. And so helping .coms from perks.com to almostgolf.com, airtickets.com was one of the people who built cheaptickets.com, the original website. So I just focused on helping people get out of the box thinking that the only thing they were able to do was become an employee. There were so many people, especially in 2008 and after, who were being laid off and they didn't have any alternatives. So that's when they began to ask me what they should do, business advice. And so my brand, my focus has always been Ask Sharifah, because I not only help people to make money online, but to save money online, because they're facing the unknown. They still don't know this world. And so I just like to be a part of serving and helping mankind.
And how do you help with your podcasts, your teleconferences, and with your roundtable talks?
Well, what we do is every morning at 8 a.m., we start the day with entrepreneurs. So we have 5 guests who come sit down in a roundtable organic conversation. And we discuss ways to improve our business, ways to improve our lives, and just share what we do. So you have 5 different entrepreneurs from 5 different backgrounds. It may be a small business owner, it may be the CEO of a Fortune 100, Fortune 500 company. It may be an entrepreneur. But by working together, the one thing that I've learned is, since I've hosted over 200 episodes since I launched on the 30th of March, is that no matter where we are in the world, we have more in common than we do that is different. And I think that's one thing that this global COVID pandemic has taught us, that everyone around the world is being affected by it.
And what kind of mentality do you maintain to be able to negotiate ideas and be open to more self-improvement, if that's what I understand?
Well, I just consider myself a lifelong learner. I'm always trying to learn new things. And so sometimes I tell people I do the roundtable talk show more for my benefit than anyone else's, because where else do you have the opportunity to sit down with the experts, the best of the best, the influencers, and ask them questions? Because I really want to know, how do you improve your business? How do you grow your business? How do you raise capital and funding for your business? So this gives me an opportunity to ask the people who know how to do these things, and also to relay that information to other guests and to my viewers. And I really started doing the show because I would talk to so many people who would give me excuses and give me reasons on why they cannot do something. Or I can't do this because I'm sick. I can't do this because I'm a single mom. I can't do that because I was laid off. And I'm saying, for every story that someone tells me, maybe it's sexual abuse, domestic violence, bankruptcy, homelessness, for whatever story someone can tell me, I can show them a guest on one of my shows who has encountered something similar and has overcome that struggle. And that's the most important thing, because so often when we're on our own journey, we feel alone. We feel like we're the only one who has ever been through this. We feel like we're the only one who will ever go through this. And I want people to understand, no matter how you feel, you are not alone. There are people who are going through the same struggles or have gone through those same struggles, and you can learn from them, and we can all help each other.
And what is your say on diversity?
Well, diversity is important to me because I see many opportunities, especially over, I'll be 45 in March, over my lifetime, where the same equal opportunities weren't available to everyone. So I want to make sure that we create a nation that is diverse and equitable and inclusive for everyone, and that opportunities are not just available for a certain minority or certain group of people.
So, okay, my next question is about your, let's say, business experience. Like, what are your main achievements as a business consultant?
Well, one of the achievements that I'm extremely proud of is the IPO, the initial public offering that we did with Punch TV Studios. And so I started working with that company in 2013. We wrote the business plan at my mother's kitchen table. We were both out of work, laid off, or not currently working anywhere. And we started working on the business plan, developed the website, developed all the social media, and we actually took the company public in 2016. And the business plan became the basis for the SEC filings. So from 2016 to 2018, we raised $6 million in initial public offering. And as the director of marketing, I was extremely proud of what we accomplished. Even with our social media, we took it from 0 to over 20,000, 26,000 followers, from not having any money to $6 million, but just growing the community. So it felt good to go out to places and go out to events and to speak to people even now in 2021. And they have heard of that IPO, they have heard of that company, to be recognized and for that accomplished. I was extremely proud of that.
So my question here, you decided to go with the company in public. What advantage, what opportunities have you seen to recommend that? And could you explain, please, what you mean by IPO? What does it mean?
Well, IPO is the initial public offering. It's the first time a company is offering its stock to the public. And so most companies do not achieve that level. They want to stay private. They want to keep all of the ownership by private owners. And so by taking a company public, you're able to trade the stock on the stock market, trade it to, or either the OTC, NASDAQ, something like that. But what we did is we took the company public under Regulation A+, which was granted by then President Obama. And so it allowed us to make shares available to anyone and everyone, which was new. It was a new regulation because prior to that, you have to be an accredited investor. And so as an accredited investor, you have to have a certain net worth. And what this regulation did is it allowed it to level the playing field, because it said, okay, people who do not have such a high net worth, they want to be able to take advantage of the stock market. And so that's what we were able to do. We just felt that this was giving people more opportunities.
Okay, let's go to your team. What services and what kind of assistance do you provide through your team?
Through my company, through Sharifah, we provide not only marketing services, online marketing, branding, website design, but what I'm really passionate about is I help entrepreneurs if they want to become a podcaster. There's such a high demand right now for podcasts, and so many people want to be the next podcaster. So what I do is I work with them and I teach them how to become a podcaster, how to create their show, what to say, what to do, where to go, where to upload. And that's something I've really been enjoying. We have some great podcasts that I'm working with. The Winner's Journey podcast with Viviana Puello is one I'm extremely proud of. We also have conversations with Chandra Gore, I'm extremely proud of. But I just love to help business owners and entrepreneurs. Like I said earlier, I not only help them make money, but to save money because they don't know what they need to do. So I'm just here to guide them, help their brand.
So what are your main recommendations for, let's say, beginner podcasters?
Main thing that I like to keep in mind is that it's a show. And I think that's a lot of times what people forget, that a podcast is a show. It's not just you sitting there talking. So a show requires a format. What is your format? sometimes I think too often people create a podcast, they do it randomly, they don't have a set time, they don't have a set date. And I always say you want to keep those things in mind so that you can build an audience. And you will build an audience because your audience knows when you're live, when you're on, when your show appears, and they'll begin to watch for you. And then have a format, a certain way that you start each show, a certain way that you end each show. None of it is mandatory, but you want your audience to be able to resonate with you and resonate with how you do a show. You do not have to have a commercial break, but if you would like to have a commercial break, you want to make it clear that this is a commercial break. And also, do not be so concerned about the competition or what other podcasters are doing. Find your voice, find the things that you are passionate about, find the things that you want to talk about. That's what makes each podcast unique and interesting.
What main, let's say, mistakes should new podcasters try to avoid?
Well, I think the main mistake is focusing too much on the analytics, focusing too much on the numbers. I remember the very first show I did, Ask Sharifah Radio, in 2009, and I was so excited. I had promoted it for over a month, and I told everybody about it. And it's the newest thing for me. And when it came time to do the show, one person tuned in live, and I was just so hurt, and I was so disappointed. And I was like, oh my God, all this work. I wanted to be a talk show host, and there's not even an audience for it. But what I began to see after episode after episode after episode was that very first podcast, that very first episode, and many episodes after that began to have hundreds and thousands of listens, because as people became aware of the show, they go back to that very first show, and it built from there. And I think too often as podcasters, we have this idea that we're going to launch our podcast and the world is just going to come to us, and we're going to have 1 million downloads, and everybody's going to be calling, and we're going to get calls from Ellen DeGeneres, and she's like, oh my God, you're a podcaster, let me have you on your show. And when that doesn't happen, we get disappointed, and we kind of put it to the side and go, you know what, maybe that didn't work. But it takes time, it takes consistency. I didn't get here overnight. I mean, I've done over 200 episodes of the Roundtable Talk Show. I've done over 150 episodes of Ask Sharifah video cast. I mean, I've had so many different shows, but the one thing that I've seen is that when I'm consistent, the audience is consistent.
One word you would like to say to Kamala Harris?
You go, girl. That's what I like to say. I'm just proud of her. If she could hear anything, that is really what I want to say. I'm just proud of her accomplishments.
It has been more than awesome talking to you, Sharifah, with your amazing ideas. Thank you so much for your support and for your great ideas indeed. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.